It's the end of April, and you better have got your taxes in like I did. And if you did, and you paid a little bit, you're feeling like this guy.
Oh my gosh.
Where's all your money gone, Daddy?
Taxes. It's the worst part of the game.
Is what?
Taxes.
Well, Adam, did you pay your taxes? Finish your taxes and pay the bills?
I was required to, yeah.
Yeah, me too. You know what we should do?
Why don't you tell me?
We should protest having to pay taxes.
That's a great idea. How do you suggest we do that?
We go to the federal government, right up near Parliament, on some motorcycles maybe, and we protest by revving some big old Harleys.
Motorcycles or trucks?
Any of the above. We have a format now. That's what you do. You protest the federal government at the federal government's workplace.
Do they accept Subarus?
If they have loud, obnoxious mufflers, all the better.
They generally do.
All right. Well, you know what's happening?
Why don't you tell me?
All those loud mufflers are rolling thunder. A protest already in Ottawa, rolling around, complaining about these freedom intrusions that some Canadians still have.
They're already there?
Yeah.
Still?
Well, you know how it is. It peters out. They come on the weekend and then they leave. And some of them stay around because they're, probably locals.
Did the police have to clear them out?
The police were prepared this time. You know what? A little preparation, and you don't even have to go and invoke the Emergencies Act. Imagine that.
Or did they just, do that in preparation?
Yeah. Preparation.
Oh, good.
No. You should just have a so-called emergency when you eventually don't prepare for a bunch of protesters just showing up that have informed you that they are showing up. You know?
Well, I mean, with all those protesters coming towards them, and we know how terrible the last one was.
So they say.
What did those wonderful politicians of ours in that Liberal Party have to say about this one?
All the bad things, right?
Yeah.
Like I don't know. Did they call them Nazis again and all that stuff?
I didn't hear anything about that, but they basically were claiming
they're maturing a little.
Yeah, they were claiming there was going to be violence and possible hate crimes.
Yes.
Baselessly claiming that.
Yep.
And then you know how much of that happened? None.
Yeah, kidding me.
I believe there were a few.
You mean like that other 3-week-long protest that was not even violent?
Oh no, yeah, no, that one required a special act
for the violence to begin.
For the violence to begin, yes. So no, this one they headed to Ottawa, and I guess they were there for the weekend. They made their point, and then they went home. Yeah,
but those police. They had a lot of choppers on the streets too, so were they actually protesting with their Rolling Thunder police bikes?
I don't know. I wonder what they were protesting.
They were
protesting protests.
Sympathetic police officers. Maybe.
Is that a thing?
Yeah, I'll show you the video.
Okay. All right, sounds good.
But beginning of May, there's always another protest for the last several years that's evolved into what's called May Day. You guys have heard of May Day or no?
No, listen, I hadn't heard about this one. And I was quite surprised when I looked into it because there was a lot of media coverage, politicians having comments about the Rolling Thunder protest. And there was essentially, well, I don't know, there was very little about May Day. And from what I heard, this was the one they probably should have been talking about.
Yeah, for the last several years, and not only the last several years, but if you look at videos from all around the world where the May Day protests have been held, they turned violent. Actually, let's show a little clip, Michael Lee, of what occurred in Quebec.
Right. Well, Josh,
Being violent.
tell me what the heck they're protesting. I don't really know what this is about.
What's the protest initially about, or what is it currently about?
Sure. Yeah.
That's an interesting set of questions that I actually looked into, because I didn't know what the heck May Day was until a few years ago, and there's some severe historic information that goes back like 1,000 years about protests, but and Gaelic celebrations in regards to May Day that they try to tie this current May Day situation in to. But more recent history of the May Day goes back to Chicago in 1886, so about 100 years before I was even born. That's the recent history I'm talking about.
Some solid math right there.
Yeah. There was a protest that turned into a riot known as the Haymarket Riot. And that was a situation where peaceful protesters ended up challenging for workers' rights, basically. I mean, I don't know what much more. If you want to get the details, look it up yourselves. It's a little bit of a history class.
Okay, so the bottom line is
the actual current.
There
May
was
Day.
a purpose for it, but what is it now? Has it just been co-opted?
Yeah, it's changed over the years, basically to an amalgamation of protests that everybody around the world chooses to do around May 1st. It's been going on probably for the last decade mostly, and they protest like labor rights, so people can have whatever happens in your specific country. They'll protest against whatever kind of big businesses, and it's kind of actually devolved into
Anti-capitalist.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what the National Post article I read referred to it as.
Yeah, that's what I would agree with that.
Yeah, they call the so-called anti-capitalists wearing masks was the almost exact quote, I believe.
Just check out on YouTube protests across the world of May Day. It's exactly what they're saying. Literally, always people dressed up with masks on, smashing stuff in protest,
smashing windows, painting on parked cars, and just generally terrorizing random people.
Yeah. Emergencies Act. Invoke it.
That's only for trucks.
Yeah, I know.
They didn't have trucks. That's how you avoid that.
Exactly. It's the one thing. Noisy trucks.
Well, apparently this political violence has been essentially just normalized, and governments and whatnot just sort of accept it, and they don't really talk about it, and the media doesn't really pay attention to it.
That's true. Even if you try to look up any of it on YouTube, it's mostly not there, because they're just ignoring the fact that people are just smashing shit on May 1st.
All right, cool. But it seems like there's no political will to do anything about it.
Just ignore it and it'll go away.
Yeah.
Right?
Complain about the bikes instead.
Well, Adam,
yes.
I had a conversation with a couple of boiler mechanics today.
Sounds riveting.
Yesterday, we were talking about one of our favorite topics, electric vehicles.
Oh, yeah? How'd that go?
Well, people are interested by it, but they all seem to think it's not gonna come as fast as the federal government is going to try to force it upon us.
Well, they are going to run into some issues because apparently right now there's rather large increased interest and demand for these vehicles, and supply for them, like supply of everything else, is dwindling, and there are long wait times, there are supply chain issues. I just really wonder how this is going to affect the federal government's mandated plan that more and more people are going to buy these.
Yeah. Is there really a support structure to actually build as many vehicles as countries around the world are determining? Like how many lands do we have to scrape up and destroy for batteries right now if we want to get these electric cars moving?
Well, that's interesting too, because there's a lot of different types of battery technology that's advancing very quickly and is going to be used in electric vehicles over the next few years, which means, you know, we could be extracting materials now for batteries now that they may not be using for very long. But anyways, further to that point, I did read that they're starting to face issues where certain manufacturers are prioritizing sending the few vehicles they do have in Canada to provinces where at the provincial level there are additional incentives from the government, rebates, whatnot, on top of the federal incentive to encourage people to buy these. So if you're in a province like Manitoba, where they're never forward thinking enough to do anything like that, good luck finding one if you're really interested, because I don't think there'll be very many coming here.
True. We'll just wait and see. Electric vehicles may be further along than we've been told by our immature prime minister.
Yeah.
Our face.
But until, you know, the world kind of gets itself together and we start figuring out a lot of these supply chain issues, I think it's going to be tough for them to be available on a large scale. And that's going to be difficult for us to hit those targets that are set out for us.
So in a few years, Adam, we might not even have this prime minister. We may switch over to another party, because, you know, that tends to happen. We switch between left and right parties in this country.
Hasn't happened in a while.
Yeah, so maybe it's rolling on time. I recently seen a poll that's indicated that if an election was held today, Conservatives are at about 35% nationally, and the Liberals are at 30%. And that's without there even being a leader of the official opposition.
Well, sometimes if they choose a leader that's less popular with certain groups, that can actually hurt those poll numbers.
And maybe that will happen, but probably not, because our guy, Pierre,
the man,
he has a new plan that the Liberals are complaining about. He's going to...
I heard about this. I read. He's going to ban cryptocurrency, right?
That is right. He's going to ban some cryptocurrency.
Well, we should just read that headline and move on. We should definitely not actually find out the truth.
You mean there's details to misleading headlines in the news?
No, just read the misleading headline, post it on your social media, and move on. But and make sure to tell 12 other people about it.
I seen his Twitter. He said he's going to ban a certain type of crypto.
Yeah, except he didn't say that. He's just going to ban the Bank of Canada from developing its own.
Correct.
He is actually pro Bitcoin and other crypto. And there's actually videos on his channel where you can see him talking about it and talking with people who are accepting it at their business. And he's very much in support of it. He is just not in support of a centralized crypto, centralized by the Central Bank of Canada, because centralizing a decentralized currency entirely defeats the point.
Unpack that a little bit, Adam, because some people, they don't really understand crypto. They just understand the bills and coins that they get in their wallet and the digits that show up on their phone apps when they have money in their bank account. What exactly is cryptocurrency, and what is the benefit of it?
Well, if it's not, if it's a decentralized currency, as we talk about, It's not controlled by one entity, one government, one person, or anything like that who can manipulate it for whatever they see fit. It's controlled by the people as a whole that use it. It's not the easiest concept to understand, but the idea is you don't have one person with all the money dictating to everyone else how they're going to do everything and who's going to get what. And
Like
you completely defeat that purpose if the Central Bank of Canada is in charge of it.
Like the current situation we have when the federal government dictated monetary policy and helped to create a situation of 6.7%. Is that where we're at now?
Right.
Inflation?
As Pierre will tell you, they printed $400 billion and released it out into the markets, and then it disproportionately ended up with the wealthy people who didn't need it, and it devalued our currency, thus creating the sky-high inflation that we see today.
So a decentralized currency, meaning it's basically managed by the people who use it.
Right.
And it's not real money, like paper money, is it?
Now think about this.
Yes.
Is the Canadian dollar really real money?
It's paper.
It's theoretically, if you spend $1, there's a physical dollar somewhere in existence for it. But do you know that? Do you just assume that?
I believe that because that's what I'm told.
Right. Exactly.
So
that's something to think about.
So what's the benefit of holding this cryptocurrency, of trying to get some of it?
Well, if you're holding it now, you're somewhat of an early adopter, and I guess you're going on the theory that as governments continue to devalue their own centralized currencies, people will find ways around that, so that they can build their own wealth in different ways in the future, when, you know, things could be very different if you know, we keep seeing inflation numbers like we do now.
So we both have a little bit of some cryptos. What is a good idea? Like, I'm not going to give financial advice here, but our choices have been what? To pick the most dominant of cryptocurrency.
Obviously, Dogecoin.
That's a fun little coin, but it's only strong because the man Elon Musk says it is.
Yeah. No, I don't personally own any Bitcoin, but I do have some Ethereum, which is the second largest one. And it's doing pretty well. Actually, the last week or so, none of them have been doing great, but it is a volatile market.
Yeah, it happens.
So don't put anything into it right now that you can't afford to be without.
Yeah, it's like a savings account, kind of, where you put money in and you hold there and you hope that the value of that so-called crypto dollar goes up, and then it's worth a little bit more in the future. Mm-hmm. Something like when you have a savings account and the value goes up ever so slightly in a few years.
It's a long-term plan right now. I mean, the people getting into it now, and whatever craziness was happening in the last few years, people mortgaging their house and putting it all into crypto and whatnot. Don't be that person. This is definitely a long-term game. So if you're going to get into it, make sure you got some patience, you know, do your due diligence, read about it. There's many to choose from, and many of them are likely going to be bad options. So make sure you're just choosing stuff that makes sense, and be careful and don't pour your life savings into it.
So is this why those misleading articles in the news say that he's going to ban it? Why should we be concerned if he's going to ban this funny money?
Banning things is more the current liberal way to do things.
You telling me this conservative leadership hopeful is pro Bitcoin, pro all the cryptocurrency, and having no control over people's currency is a good thing?
That's what he's telling us.
Shouldn't we be able to freeze bank accounts shouldn't the Canadian government maybe have their own bank accounts in which they can just control how we spend our money?
Don't they have that already?
Kind of do, but I'm sure one day they will have some more control unless we have some alternative means of transfer.
Well, not today.
Monetary transfer.
Right now, they're busy trying to control the internet.
True. That's a topic we will have to get into some point.
Discussion for another day.
So, boys, gentlemen,
No gentleman here.
gentlemen, the Jets. How do you guys feel about the Jets missing the playoffs again?
Yeah, I love it.
But it is the first time that they've missed since the, I think 2016-17 season. So it's not, it was a crappy season. Let's be honest. I know there was a lot of negativity that was kind of spun in the media there, especially when it comes down to some of the players talking about not sure what they want to do next year. There was Scheifele, who was very, very committed to the team, so he's not too sure what's going to be happening for him next year. I don't know, they fired the entire coaching staff, but there's still words that they may bring back Dave Lowry as the coach. They're kind of putting out interviews right now into the league to see who's available. Who actually, I guess, who's available to be, next coach and whatnot. What do you guys think? Especially now that Chevy signed a 3-year contract extension. You guys any thoughts in regards to that?
Well, I got to say, Scheifele can just score more goals instead of telling me what to recycle.
Or telling you to buckle up.
Yeah, that as well.
That's what you meant, I think.
Yeah, well, I think he's actually on both.
Is he on both?
Yeah.
I don't even know anymore.
Yeah, well, it depends if you're watching YouTube or actual cable.
Well, I guess the question that everybody's kind of wondering is if Chevy is the right person that can actually turn this team back into what they were in 2018, where he made all the way to the Western Conference Finals.
Well, he kind of made them into the mess they are now. So, is he going to be able to fix that? Because presumably he wasn't trying to create a mess. It's also very odd, I want to say. It's very odd how he fired the coaching staff, but then opened the door for them to interview to get their jobs back.
Well, Dave was only an interim. I don't know if that really means much, but
I mean, okay.
I don't know. I don't know much about.
It's weird. I think usually they just go, "Yeah, you're gone."
Well, could they be creating an opening for someone else?
Like who?
That's a good question, but I'm just saying
Joel Quenneville?
Everybody wants Quenneville.
Yeah, I'm just saying they could be creating an opening for somebody else on the market.
Hopefully the league actually reinstates Quenneville. That'd be nice.
Well, listen, I heard Paul Maurice is available.
Well,
he is.
Nope. No one.
No.
Not even a chuckle.
I don't think he should. I'm not going to go there.
No, they're not going to bring him back.
No.
Well, the coaching staff was fired and the players seem pretty disgruntled, so it's a bad situation, and I don't know if locking down Chevy for 3 years was the answer to fixing it. My current opinion is that was not the right way to do it, but it was done, so now we're going to have a front row seat to whatever his brilliant plan is to undo this situation.
Whatever's next. Hopefully we can maintain a majority of our players. That would be nice.
Yeah.
Like the Scheifele's, the Statsnys, our main guys that got us to where we are. I know we've got Connor for a number of years still, I'm pretty sure.
Got to keep Connor.
Yeah. So, see what next year brings.
Yeah, I don't know. Is Chevy the guy to fix the mess? Let us know in the comments down below.
Yeah.
Well, should we finish off with this Manitoba topic about the homegrown cannabis ban being challenged in court? They did say back when this was when cannabis was being legalized that this ban Manitoba had probably wouldn't stand up to a court challenge. As I understand it, Manitoba and Quebec are the only provinces that currently don't allow any cannabis for personal use to be grown in your home. But federally, you can have up to 4 plants. Again, for personal use only. What do you guys think? How do you guys think this is going to go?
Yeah, there's a jurisdictional dispute, I guess. Who's really in charge?
Well, from what I understood, it's essentially it's federal legislation, and the provinces are somewhat invited to regulate it, but they're not really supposed to just flatly go against it.
Yeah, it's confusing as can be. I just don't get why they don't just have a specific jurisdiction for this product, and then we know who's in charge and who's legislating it. It's not a big deal. Just figure it out. It's only some people at home wanting to have a couple of plants,
right? We have one government that goes, yeah, you can do this, and then the other one goes, no. We don't need this confusion, okay? It's just silly.
I mean, you don't think that the people that want these plants are going to have a few at their home for juicing or oils or smoking or whatever the heck it is they want to do with it?
And why shouldn't they?
And I'm just saying that they're going to have it anyways, whether it's legal or not, and no one's going to know about it because it's for personal consumption anyways. It's not for resale.
It would be a complete waste of taxpayer money to try and regulate that or, police it. So
you're never going to police it.
Yeah.
This is just hiding under somebody's grow light in their basement.
So it's a waste of time. It's a waste of money.
The province should have just adopted the federal rule.
Yeah, it's an infringement on the federal legislation there. So I think it's going to get tossed.
Yeah,
I think so.
And it will be just a federal rule.
Yeah.
Who controls most of the drugs in the country? Michael Lee? Do you control the pharmacological?
I don't know what you're talking about.
Drugs? No, the federal government does.
It's not the Michael Lee?
I mean, the only issue is they've tied these the cannabis laws to basically the liquor rules, which are somewhat regulated by the provinces. So it's convoluted.
But you can make your own beer in your bathtub if you want to do that.
Yeah, we tried to make some beer, and maybe we'll try again.
Yeah,
you tried not in the bathtub. Please make sure you say that. He didn't try in the bathtub.
You don't know what I tried.
Oh boy, I drank some of that beer.
Nobody drank that beer. It was moldy.
Yeah, it went bad.
Yeah, pandemic started and was ruined.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll try again.
Well, yeah, I'm sure that this product will be regulated by the federal rules, and that'll be the end of it. No worries.
Yeah, that's how it should be. If you're for or against it, let us know.
Most people are too lazy to grow stuff anymore anyways.
Well, it's easier to just go out and buy it.
And that's what's mostly happening.
I've noticed that there's a cannabis store every 3 feet these days.
Yeah, Farmer Jane. I can't name any more, but there's a lot.
Tweed.
Yeah, there's Tweed, there's The Joint, there's
Farmer Jane.
There's a new one that just appeared. It's got fire in the name.
Delta 9.
It's
on. I forget the name of it. Anyways, there's new ones all the time. There's lots of independent ones too.
Everywhere.
That's life. Who cares? Doesn't bother me one bit.
Yeah, so
it's fine.
I'm sure that this will get sorted out in the courts, and it'll probably make the sense it should have made.
Well, all those boring things happen this week. Hopefully next week we'll have something more exciting in this country to talk about.
And if you're one of the 3 people that have watched all the way to the end of this video, we appreciate you and your time. And if you could just do us a favor of sharing, and subscribing so that we can keep bringing all 3 of you this riveting content. Have a good night.